IDOLOGY is super stoked to have Angie Miller in the house today.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Just curious, what were you up to before auditioning for Idol? I heard through the grapevine that you had put the idea of college on hold, thinking, let me see if I can make this happen. That's a big risk.
Yeah, huge risk. I mean, I graduated high school in May, and it was kind of like, what am I doing? Am I going to college? And I did college visits and like did all this crazy stuff. And then I found out that American Idol auditions were in New York in a month. And I was like, that whole month I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna go to college, audition? And I'm glad I auditioned, that's for sure.
Right, so you get to your audition, Mama Knows Best, and you talked about partial hearing loss in your ears, which is something we didn't really hear about again for the rest of the season, and that's unusual on Idol.
Which is good, yeah.
I've had hearing problems my whole life. I have 40% hearing loss in my left ear and 20 in my right.
It's not like a huge struggle like, oh, I can't hear. Like, no, I'm used to it. Like, I've grown used to it. It's not a huge problem. It's just, I'm used to having a bit of hearing loss, and it's just, I don't want to make it this huge sob story. Like, no, I didn't want that.
Was it ever an issue for you when you got to the big stage?
Well, I mean, we use in-ears on the stage, and I couldn't use it in my left ear because of just ear stuff, but the music was really loud in my right ear, and it just but like the first week, like top 10, it was weird getting used to the in-ears and everything, but I don't know, just get used to it.
So we've got to talk about group rounds, because you were with Kezban,
Yep.
who's a fascinating character.
Well, it's 6:15, breakfast started at 6, and she's still not here yet.
And with Janelle and Brianna, so it was a pretty powerhouse top four, but it looked like it was headed for disaster. And I think even when they showed the actual performance, I was like, oh, like that sounds like 4 different parts clashing, and then the judges were like, best thing ever.
Yeah, okay, shocking. We were all literally going into that expecting like, all right, well, this is my first year and I'm getting cut in Hollywood Week, like whatever. And Janelle had done this 2 years before, and she was just like, we're that group that they're gonna make fun of, we're gonna go home, whatever. We get on stage, and then when Nicki Minaj stood up and they were all clapping, we were like, what?
You were the perfect fit.
Yeah.
What just happened?
What just happened? Right.
How scary is that, you know, to feel like your fate is being judged based on the work of 4 people? You can't.
It's scary. It stinks, because it's like if one person doesn't practice hard enough and doesn't put their all into it, then it affects the whole group. And I don't know, it's hard, especially since it's so early on in the competition. You don't know anyone yet.
Right.
So it's like you meet them and you have to be forced to get along with them like right away. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's harder.
You find me here alone.
So you Set Me Free as your final Hollywood solo. 3.7 million YouTube hits later.
I hear a voice that's so unknown.
Good Lord.
I would imagine on some level going in and saying, I'm going to play my own song is a little bit of a risk, because I'm sure most people like to think that their writing is going to be great, but you don't know. And then you're playing it in front of 4 industry professionals. They might have just been like, oh, I don't know about this girl's writing, but it blows up and becomes this huge morning after thing.
I had written that like two months beforehand or something, and I had only sang it once. Like once in front of people.
Really?
That's it. I didn't know yet if it was like really a good song or not. And that night, the night before I did it, we had to meet with vocal coaches and sing our song to them, whatever. And I look at him and I was just like, tell me if this song is terrible, because I don't know. Just say if I should do it or not.
Was this with Michael Orland?
This was actually with Matt.
Okay.
Tell me if it's terrible. Tell me if I should do it. I play it once and he was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you should definitely do this song. It's good. And I was like, okay. All right, okay, I will. Okay.
You come with open arms.
And the morning after it aired, it was like, okay, here's one of our front runners for this season.
Yeah.
Did you sort of like do a little Google searching the next morning?
Yes, I did. Of course I did. That's when the American Idol journey for me really came to life, and it was like, wow, I actually have a chance at this now.
So Vegas top 40 round, you do Nobody's Perfect. And there were some people that were like, this is Angie's 3rd Jessie J cover out of 5 performances that we've seen. Was there any, oh boy, I don't want people to think I'm like, you know, single white femaling Jessie J right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't want to, like, Jessie J is a huge inspiration for me, but I don't want to be her. I want to be, she just inspires me a lot, and I love her songs. And given the amount of time that we had to just like show America who we are as a person, I just want to be able to show them songs that I can relate to, and her songs I can relate to.
Is that your #1 criteria in song choice? Actually being able to believe it and feel it.
The 1 week that I did Shop Around and completely screwed everything up, I think that goes to show that meaning was not a meaning that I would want on my album or anything, you know?
Yeah,
So,
it's not very you.
No, it's not me at all. The message of it isn't me.
Try to find the one who's gonna give you true love.
I doubt your mama even told you to shop around. It just seems
No.
seems unlikely at best.
Yeah.
So top 20 week, you do Never Gone, which to me on paper is a risky move because it's a newish song. It's a song that's a Christian radio hit, but maybe not everybody knows. But I think when you look closer, it's a smart risk because Colton is very near and dear to the Idol audience. And it's a guy's song.
People loved him, and when he did that song on tour, everybody loved it. And he never did it on the show, he just did it on the tour. It's not hugely well known, so it's kind of like I could put my own spin on it and people wouldn't criticize me for that. I actually covered it on YouTube before I did it on the show, and he saw it and commented on my YouTube channel. And
Did he really?
Yeah. Before it released as a single, I saw him on tour and I recorded it, and I was like, I want to cover this song, and I learned it based off of the recording, and he wrote on it, he was like, you're good, like we should work together in the future, and who would have known?
So you did I Surrender for Music of the Idols week, and there was that one little soundbite where I think you said something like,
I think that I can sing it as well as Kelly did.
and people were like, oh, like you can't say that about Kelly.
Oh gosh, I didn't know that. But I didn't mean it as like a negative thing. Meant it as a good thing.
You weren't trying to take Kelly down.
No, I was not trying to take Kelly down. Would never want to.
I just hope to show that amount of passion that she showed.
Around top 10, top 9 week is when you started getting the comments about too theatrical or theatricality. And I think Jimmy at one point was like,
sometimes when you come on, I feel like I've tuned into a beauty pageant.
what do you do with that information?
I never thought beauty pageant or Disney princess, or I never thought any of those. Those always really confused me because I feel like I'm not like that. I'm like the edgy black, like I don't think I'm Disney princess. Or,
you never wore like Belle, Beauty and the Beast type gown.
Oh, right. But now looking back at it, especially, I agree with being like maybe too theatrical, too dramatic. And I think it took until like top 6 or top 5 to really understand how to show emotion without being too overly dramatic.
I think there's an aspect too of the camera. You know how to play to the camera, I think, a lot more than some contestants do. Is that just something that you're naturally good at? Did you have on-camera experience prior to that?
Not so much. I was in theater, and that has a lot with like connecting with the audience, not so much camera, but yeah, I don't know really what helped me so much with that. I've done covers on YouTube, and I've done like, realizing that the camera's there.
Right.
But other than that, not so much camera work.
Yeah. You mentioned Shop Around. Did you come out of that week feeling like, okay, I need to reestablish and reprove myself? I don't want to be the early elimination, the shock boot of the season.
Definitely.
And you did Bring Me to Life. It was supposed to be classic rock week, and then it got changed to rock week, and you're the only one who didn't do classic, so I'm assuming, did you just say, I've got to do this song?
I didn't. No, I did. Well, because when they gave us like, they gave us a theme, and there's like songs and stuff to choose from and whatnot. So I saw that on the list, and like there were so many like classic rock songs, and I'm just that's not. I don't know. I didn't really connect to any classic rock songs. I didn't grow up listening to it or anything. So, but I saw Bring Me to Life, and that's like so much more modern than all the other ones, and I was just like, that's it. That's me. I gotta do that.
Are you hoping that in a post-Idol career that you can sort of merge those two sides of things?
Definitely.
Are you going to rock out a little bit?
I like the soul, the piano, and then I like the edgy side of things too. So I want to like mush those together in an album.
That was a good week for you with your solo, but you also had the duet with Lazaro, who forgot quite a few of his lyrics. And he'd forgotten his lyrics in his group performance the previous week. Were you sort of bracing for that?
Neither of us knew the song, so it was definitely like we had to learn it. We had to make sure we learned the lyrics, and I think at one point we both looked at each other and we were like, okay, we actually have to do this now. We need to treat the duet as if it's a solo.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a lot better than the boys group the week prior. But
I think it's because you kept singing though, mostly. There weren't as large the gaps because I felt like you kind of just thought, well, I better pick up this.
I definitely learned the whole song just in case there were any lyric mess ups, and we would have backed up each other. But for the most part, I think it was It was good. It was good. We remembered most of our lyrics. And
You're diplomatic. You did Love Come Down for top 6 week. Now this to me was a pretty big risk because again, you know,
no one knew it really.
Song I Wish I Wrote.
I don't want to be like just a good singer or just a good performer, whatever. Like I want to be like an artist, someone who really appreciates the music and appreciates the lyrics and just everything all together. And so that week, it took me so long to pick a song. I feel so bad for the Idol production because they were like, what do you want to sing, what do you want to sing? Because it's so important to me, a song you wish you'd written, a song that you wish like those lyrics came from you and that sound came from you. That was hard for me to choose, but when I thought of that song, I was just like, yes, like the meaning, the sound, like everything was just really me.
Love came down and it set me free.
And I feel like every few weeks, at least, you tried to get in a little bit of message of spirituality and about God and sort of make that part of what you're about. Was it important to be able to have that happening lyrically?
Definitely, because I'm not going to go down the Christian genre. I'm not going to be in the Christian world. So I still want to, through my songs, have some sort of, not being like, oh, Jesus, 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 but just like, you know, the songs are going to come from my heart and that's my heart. So lyrics and meaning behind things are totally going to be like have the spiritual meaning. Hi, I'm Angie Miller, and you're watching IDOLOGY on TVline.com.
The one other criticism you got this season from the judges, in addition to they got rid of theatricality, and then it was like they kind of wanted you to be changed to the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I wondered if there were moments you wanted to be like, you know, I don't necessarily even want to play the piano on every song.
Honestly,
Did you?
yeah. I mean, because I think I got pegged as like, you're only good on piano.
Right.
No, I'm not. Like, I promise I can do just as well off piano as I can on piano, and I enjoy being off piano just as much as I enjoy being on piano.
And if you'd been on piano every week, you know that they would have said like, we need you to shake things up and get off the piano.
Yep.
So top 5 week, I'm assuming you picked I'll Stand By You well in advance of the Boston Marathon bombings because that was on a Monday and you've got to record by Saturday.
I actually found out through Twitter. I was like waiting to rehearse for the first time on Monday, and I go on Twitter just like whatever, and then all of a sudden I see all the pray for Boston, like all these like hashtags, and I'm just like, what the heck? And I looked online and called my mom, and I was like, does this really happen? Like what? Like, is this for real? And that was a terrible day. I did not want to be there in rehearsals. I just wanted to go home and be with family and friends. I was like, this is for Boston. This song has to be for Boston this week.
This is for my home, Boston.
That was also Divas Week, and you did Halo.
Yep.
You actually went much more modern than most of your competitors, and I also felt like it was an interesting arrangement of the song. Tell me about how you tackled that.
That's a huge song, and it's like one of her most well-known songs. I want it to sound more like me first off. I didn't want the drum set being like, you know, all like tracks and stuff. I want it to be a more organic sound, a more band-like feel, because that's just me. And definitely didn't want to sing it just like her because I didn't want to be compared to her that week, and I knew it was going to happen. I took it away from Beyonce style just enough, but not too much.
The following week was Contestants' Choice Week, and I think the big question is, why didn't you sing You Set Me Free that week?
I didn't want to rush the iTunes recording of it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to have to. I wanted, for this song, it was so important to me, I wanted to have like all the say in the music, all the say in the voice, like do all the background vocals. Like I wanted that to be my song. And I knew that if I did it that week, it would have been extremely rushed and I wouldn't have had a big say in it. So I just didn't want to do it that week for that reason only. Trust me, I wanted to do it.
That's a good reason for not doing it though.
Yeah.
Because that's a pretty, I don't know if everyone knows, but that's a pretty rushed process, right? Like
Yeah,
a Saturday
it is.
morning.
The musical process, we really don't have a huge say in it.
You leave that in their hands.
Yeah, we like tell them what we want and then they just they master it and make it their own.
That's like leaving your baby for 18 years.
Exactly, yeah. I didn't want to do that.
I liked your arrangement of Diamonds a lot.
Thanks.
There were a few vocal problems at the very end of that song, but I didn't get the judges' criticism of the arrangement because I thought it was cool and different, and you kind of brought the lyrics to life.
And I saw the life inside of your eyes.
I think that's one you'd done prior to the show, correct?
Yeah, I did a YouTube cover of it with my brother and a couple friends, and I feel like in some ways American Idol likes the big note and the big climax, and that song really didn't have that.
Right.
So I think that maybe that's there was no like big wow moment and
Moments, as Randy likes to call them.
It was relaxed and it was chill and it was just a very acoustic, like beautiful sound to it, and so it was meant to be like that.
At first sight, I felt the energy of sun rays.
Speaking of arrangement, I thought the arrangement of Someone to Watch Over Me was very weird. I loved when you started out and it was kind of like a lullaby with just the guitarist, and then the band kicked in and a lot was happening behind you.
Follow my lead. Oh, how I need.
Did you feel that, and did you know that was coming, or?
Yeah, I kind of did. It was hard getting the arrangement of that song right that week for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't explaining it well to the band or something, but that week, yeah, that song was just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, the arrangement was very different than what I imagined it being.
Yeah.
I loved the beginning as well. I loved that it was just like guitar, and pretty and simple.
So I'm gonna seek a certain light.
Was it frustrating to not have a contestant's choice in top 3 week?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I definitely wanted there to be like an our choice, and it started off. We were told like, "Hey, there will be a my choice," and we were like, "Yes," but then it changed really quickly, and it was the Jimmy Iovine choice instead. That week, if there was a my choice, I almost did my original song that week. If we were able to do my choice, I probably would have done it.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, it kind of. I mean, I did like my songs though.
It's a sad, sad situation.
That was pretty. That was a gorgeous song. I loved the melody, like Elton John song. That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Loved that. Maybe it was like another pretty soulful song. Played piano for it. That was cool. And then I loved doing the up tempo. I loved Pink. That was good, but I also would have loved to do my choice.
Results night, that was tough to watch. How hard was it to go through that?
Here's the thing, I like told myself if I get voted off, I want to sing the whole song. I want to like sing the crap out of it, and
right.
I didn't want to cry. I just wanted to like sing it. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Lights up, a shot in the dark, we get lost.
Cree and Candace right there, like, it was just, we all lost it. I tried. I wanted to sing the whole song all the way through. Tried as best as I could. I sounded terrible, but got through it as best as I could.
The good news for you was that you'd made it to the second to last week of the show, and the final week of the show, you were still performing because you had some pretty exciting stuff going down on the Thursday night results show. Now, I think you knew pretty early on that you were duetting with Adam.
Yeah.
And was Titanium how did you guys come up with that?
Yeah, we wanted to like take a song and make it our own, and when I met Adam, we just clicked. Like, I feel like I feel like we're very similar in some ways, especially when he was on the show. I feel like we were very similar. We both we both were in a theater, so people pegged us as like the theatrical, dramatic, but we like the kind of rock and the strings and piano and
with big vocal.
We just we just clicked. It was just like we clicked, and when we agreed to Titanium, it was like, hey, let's do this and this and that. Yes, perfect, let's do it. It was just easy and quick, and loved working with him.
You shoot me down, but I won't fall.
You showed a lot of restraint on it to me. There were places where you could have gone big, but you took it smaller.
And that was purposeful. We meant that.
I am titanium.
At one point, we were like, should we do this whole like crazy thing here and do that and whatever? And we were just like, no, it sounds so good. Like the simplicity of it. It's so good.
And then at what point did you find out that Jessie J was flying over and you were going to have a second duet? Was that pretty last minute? Or?
That was very last minute. I think I found out like a day or two beforehand. And at first it was like, oh, you're not singing your original song. Darn it. Like that stung. Like that was like, it really, that was like the worst news ever. But then they were like, because Jessie J is coming to sing with you. I'm sad and I'm happy and I'm like, what do I feel right now? I might never be able to sing with Jessie J again, so I just, wow, like that was like the most amazing thing ever.
There's no assumption that the third place finisher is going to get to have a single or record a song that they wrote
never happened
themselves.
Before.
I mean, it's kind of unprecedented. How did you get that news?
Thursday night I got voted off, and I think it was that night or the next morning, I forget which one, but they were like, hey, I'm sorry you got voted off, but we want to record your song and make it your first single and go to the studio for it. And I was just like, yes! Like, and I would actually, like, because I'm off the show and don't have to worry about American Idol stuff that week, I had the time to like have all the say in the song and what I wanted to do since the beginning. So it like worked out perfectly, kind of.
Listening to it, the message of it, it makes me think a little bit about things that teenagers are going through. We hear about a high suicide rate or kids being bullied into that type of a situation. And listening to those lyrics, it seems very, very personal.
Exactly.
Were you thinking about that sort of larger thought in your head? Like, what is this going to say to people as they're listening to it?
When I was writing it, I had no idea I would ever be singing on the show or doing any, so I didn't think of that. I didn't think about like how people would hear it. No, it was really just like from my heart. And auditions were over, and so auditions happened, and then I wrote it.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, my life could change right now. I don't want to carry all the baggage and all the like stuff I've gone through on my back through this competition. No, I want to be set free, and I want to be able to write a song that lets people know that they can be set free and that their past doesn't have to define them.
I love you for who you are.
I have to ask, what came first, lyrics or music?
Music. Yeah, I'm usually at a piano when I'm writing, and I came up with the whole da 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 da, and like for the longest time I just had that, and I was like, what do I do with this?
Really?
And then the lyrics came eventually, and yeah.
Is it days later? Is it weeks later?
I was playing that for like so long on piano, probably like a week. I was just like, okay. And then one day I was just like, okay, I need to put words to this piano thing. Like I was like, I need to do this. And I think that it took like 2 days to like finish all the lyrics of the song because I was just so like focused on it. I spent a day just like so focused on it.
Do you do a lot of like crossing out and rewriting, or do things just come and they?
Yeah, I think like I think I do the crossing out and rewriting in my head. I'm just like, no, I don't like that, I don't like that, and then I write it, and you know what I mean?
And how much more is there ready for this debut album?
Not complete songs, but I have lots of parts or like choruses or like piano things or lots of parts that I can't wait to start the writing process. Or I've never co-written before. I'd love to be able to work with people and see what they think, and so I'm excited for that process.
And you're going to be a pop rock artist with some Christian overtones, but
sure.
you don't want to be.
No.
You don't want to be a Christian artist,
No.
quote unquote. You want to be a pop artist.
I want music that everyone can relate to, but I know who I'm singing it for.
Gotcha.